Is this a reflection that manufacturing has disappeared from Australia?
Yes and no, but it is reflected in the acute skills shortages. I remember just a few months ago there was a front cover of the West Australian that said now it's going to take 3 years to build your house because there's a tradie shortage. Not investing in those skills priorities and having that stalemate between the states and territories and the Commonwealth for so many years has just hurt the system.
Well, the other thing that happened in the previous Labor government was this shift. It's kind of ironic for a Labor government to be doing this, but this shift of focus away from trades and apprenticeships, which are perfectly good and profitable and lucrative occupations, towards university education. And they lifted the cap on university enrolments. And so suddenly Australia's youth were sort of channelled towards university. What happened then, James?
Well, Fred, the first point to make is that we did some polling on this as to whether the Australian people actually agreed with the previous government's decision to uncap university places at the cost of apprenticeship places. And it came in with a resounding almost 70% of people disagreeing with that decision. But there's only one other thing to say as to why that decision was poor. 94% of trade apprentices that complete their apprenticeship go straight into employment within 3 months. The figure is far lower for university, and that's not demeaning a university degree at all. But what that is saying is that with an apprenticeship, you are earning and learning from day one, and then you go straight into meaningful employment. And a lot of the time, earning a lot more in the first few years and beyond than your university mates.
Tell me about what it's like to employ an apprentice in Australia at the moment.
Well, the framework around by which you have to employ an apprentice is pretty much the framework by which, if you're an employer, you have to employ anybody in this nation. It's through the Fair Work Act. Fred, this morning before I came on this show, I tried to work out how much I would have to pay as an employer to my second-year apprentice in the building industry. That's governed by the Building and Construction Award. It's 131 pages long. There are 141 separate clauses pertaining to employing that apprentice. If I had a second-year apprentice, I would have to pay them $587.60. But if that second-year apprentice didn't complete Year 12, it's $537.28. But then there's clauses like this, Fred. If that apprentice is working during the day on a building that's higher than 15 stories, I have to pay them an additional 79 cents per hour. Now, if you're an employer, a small business, a majority of small businesses, the majority of apprentices in this country are actually employed by small businesses. If you're a small business person, you've just got to get out there and do business, and you don't have time to read 131 pages and understand 141 clauses. And so from my perspective and the research that we've done, this is probably the largest barrier to employing an apprentice in this country. Should we change the framework and make it easy? Put the pay scales on one page. Then employers would say, yes, we understand, and we understand that employing an apprentice is actually a good thing for our business.
Well, who benefits from all this complication and complexity in the awards?
Well, some have said, I wouldn't confirm it, that the previous government, again, when they created the Fair Work Act, made it so overly complex. It's longer than the Oxford Dictionary to give unions relevance so that they could keep employers up in courts, wave their hands around and say they're doing a great job. Well, no. If you forget that your apprentice is working on a 15-storey building for the day and you accidentally forget to put an extra 79 cents for the 6 hours that they worked on that building, you're not a bad person. You're just falling foul of a complex system. We really need to take a look at this in this country and overhaul the whole industrial relations system.